London theatre organises black-only performance with white audiences banned.
Now, I was going to do my monologue on Adidas, another brand who decided to do a Dylan Mulvaney, but then I read this. A theatre warns off whites. You can't have it both ways. Now, the Theatre Royal in Stratford East, that's in East London, have asked white visitors not to attend a performance of Tambo and Bones. Why? So that the audience can be free from the white gaze. I don't even know where to begin with this, and to be clear, if one of my guests were to say such a thing on air, I would personally demand an apology. In fact, I don't even think the phrase white gaze would be allowed on TV in the context that it's meant in this. And apparently, it is a one-off blackout event. The description of the show reads as this: a blackout night is the purposeful creation of an environment in which an all-black identifying audience can experience and discuss an event in the performing arts, film and cultural spaces free from the white gaze. Now, Channel 4 did something like this on air, which at the time I thought was pretty disgraceful, and I'm unsure how they got away with that, but my point is quite simple. You can't have it both ways. You can't complain about racism and then be a racist yourself, which is what this is. It's racist. I mean, let's imagine, if you will, a theatre performance that urged black people not to come. Race baiters like Dr. Shola would be out in force to cry racism. So why is it allowed the other way round? You can't have it both ways. The organisers say the idea of the event is to create a safe, private space for an all-black identifying audience to explore race-related issues. More like a pass to be racist. And although they claim no one is excluded, it's quite clear that if you don't identify as black, you won't be welcomed with open arms. Now, Festus Akinbuyose, PCC for Bedfordshire, said this: I would strongly urge the organisers to reconsider their decision in light of the message it sends and the precedent it sets. He went on to say, society is richer and stronger when an understanding of each other's stories is shared and heard. The blackout concept runs contrary to this education and enrichment ethos. Now, a viewer, Pearl, wrote to me this morning saying how angry she was after reading about this, and I'm inclined to agree with her. She said, after all the segregation black people suffered during apartheid, you would never think that they would want to go back to that part in history. And she's right. I certainly don't. But it seems some people are comfortable with what they're used to and continue to perpetuate it. If the purpose of this is to educate, then wouldn't it be better to include rather than exclude? Because events like this give a green light to discrimination based on colour. And we all know what that is. It's racism.
Anyone that thinks that that is a good idea is an idiot, because all you're going to do is, first of all, upset a bunch of people that can't go, and it's going to make them think, well, you know, we don't have these feelings towards you. Why are we being excluded? Secondly, you're not letting people see your side of things or understand your culture, your perspective. You're excluding them. It is segregating them in a sense, and it just perpetuates a cycle of hatred. I never really understood this, you know, but in my secondary school, they did this thing where only black students were allowed to go into the class. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I used it as a means to bunk off my other lessons because I used to misbehave. So I wasn't even listening in this class, but it was only for black students and, you know, mixed race as well, because I was allowed in there. But then one day, this girl who, she sees this, she knows exactly who she is. She basically protested and said it was racist, and demanded that she sit in the class to hear what everyone's talking about. And I was sitting next to her, and she had some big balls to be doing that, because everyone in the class, apart from a few of us, was like, they really wants to go for her neck, and she just sat there. And I understood why, because in my school, like, it was mixed, you know, we all grew up together, and the teachers were trying to segregate us. And I don't know why.
What did they say was the reasoning for them doing that?
They were teaching us about black culture and talking about black issues. And I always thought in my mind, well, I mean, if we have black issues, I'm assuming you're saying they're issues because of other races. So wouldn't it be better if we talk about black issues in front of other people, so maybe they understand what some of the problems are?
If the issues are coming from the other kids, shouldn't they be hearing about it all?
Yeah, like if you want to get over race issues, I think everybody should be included in the conversation. It's the same argument that I have with people that when they say that men are not included in the abortion argument, that's no good for anyone. If you exclude people from an argument, they're not going to want to listen to you when you put forward your points. They're just not going to, because you've excluded them. So it never made sense to me. So on with relation to this, what's going on in Stratford East with this black only theatre, I don't think black people should attend it. I don't think you should take the adopt the idea that this is a good thing. It's not. This is not a good thing. If it was for any other race, we would say the same thing, especially white people. Can you imagine if white people had a whites only theatre day? That wouldn't fly, and it shouldn't fly now. Like she said, you can't have it both ways. This is racism, and even if you don't see it as racism, it is stupid. Everybody should want everybody else to see and understand their culture and their people's struggles and their ways of thinking, so that we can find a way to live in peace as a community. Because we all, London's a very multicultural place. Everybody needs to get along. We can't have this whole race dividing. It doesn't make any sense to me. The people that are putting that together know exactly what they're doing, and the public shouldn't take the bait. I certainly wouldn't attend something like that. I'd turn my nose up at it straight away. And if white people did it, I'd do the same thing. If Arabs did it, I'd do the same thing. We should all just welcome each other into our places of worship, into our theatres, into wherever, so that everyone can learn to get along.